What's up everyone, Ratha here, and in this video I'm actually going to show you guys how I made this roof rack. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different where I do more of a speed overview and show you guys my process. So I'm just going to talk over it and hopefully give you guys a couple of tips if you decide to build your own. And the reason why I'm doing this, I have 2 kids now and space in my apartment just got pretty tight. Especially when we packed everything to go camping. This meant I had to spend more time organizing things and shift things around to fit. To find more space, some options I looked into were a rooftop cargo box, a hitch mounted tray, and even a cargo trailer. However, none that really fit my practical needs or taste. After searching on Pinterest, I actually fell in love with the idea of getting a roof rack. They look good, have lots of storage space, and serve multiple functions. However, the one I wanted cost over $1,800 and had a wait time of 5 to 8 months, as these were made to order. With camping and fishing season around the corner, I had to figure something out. And then I thought, why not design and build one myself? It would probably take me about a month and cost me about $500 in materials. Building one meant I could configure it to fit my family and personal need. Okay, so we basically have 3 essential things going on here. The basket for storage, the mounting bracket that attaches the basket to the roof of the vehicle, and last, the wind fairing to help reduce wind noise. So the first thing we need to do is measure. There are 4 important things to measure here. The location of the factory roof mounts, the distance from the top of the windshield to the rear of the roof, right before the liftgate went up. Finally, if you have a sunroof, you may want to leave a cutout for it. So on my 2004 Toyota 4Runner, measuring from the rear of the liftgate to the front windshield measured about 91 inches. The rear mounts are 7.5 inches from the liftgate, and the rear mounts to the front mounts is about 58.375 inches. The front mounts from one another are about 45 inches apart, and the rear mounts from one another are about 43.625 inches apart. And last, the location of the mounting holes are 57 millimeters apart. Based on these measurements, I went with an overall basket size of 84 inches long and 44 inches wide. Me being OCD, probably due to me being a mechanical engineer, hopped into my CAD software SolidWorks to draw this thing up in 3D down to the last detail. I started out with the layout sketch where I would define my factory locations to be used as a starting point. Then around that, I sketched out the framework of the basket, then used a weldment feature in SolidWorks to turn them into tubes. Then I drew the brackets that would hold the wind fairing. Then I created the base plates where the roof rack mounts would connect to the basket. Then the actual mounts that would attach to the roof of the 4Runner to the basket, I wanted to do a bent plate, but later changed this into 3 separate plates that would be welded together. Then I added some gussets for style points, but they also serve as anchoring points for tie-down straps. Since I would be mounting an awning in the near future, I also modeled it into the assembly. And for future mods, I added in the winch and top bolt mounts that would be fabricated and installed sometime after this video. After the model was completed, a cut list was automatically generated. The cut list would show me what and how much material I needed to buy for this project. I then searched locally where I can buy, and onlinemetals.com had most of what I needed. And then I went to Inner West Metals to pick up the remaining items on my cut list. Now we build. The first thing we had to do was get the tubes bent. Luckily, I found a guy on OfferUp with a professional tube bender willing to do all 8 bends for $80. After I got the tubes bent, I decided to design a simple fixture and build it out of some 2x4s. This would prevent things from shifting while I welded and would allow me to clamp the tubes so they were flat and aligned correctly. To join the main tubes to one another, I used a large tube that would act as a collar. This slips over where both the tube halves meet, allowing for a stronger connection. Now it was time to get comfortable and do a lot of tube notching. This and mocking up the mounts took about 80% of the build time. The notch pieces served as verticals and horizontal pieces of the basket frame. Next was to make 6 top plates that would connect the basket to the mounts. Mocking up the mounts was the biggest pain in the butt. It consisted of a rubber gasket, steel plate, and plastic spacers, standoffs that would give a height that was more manageable to mount something onto. I cheated and 3D printed my spacers with the hard material. Then I cut a few gaskets to seal and prevent mounts from scratching the vehicle. To make the main part of the mounts, I cut 3 pieces of 3/16 thick steel and tagged them together using some nominal angles as a starting point. I then mounted it to the factory location, then tapped the mount with a rubber mallet to tweak it until I got it to sit right with the basket and the roof of the vehicle. Then I repeated this 3 more times for the rest of the mounts. After getting the basket squared to the roof of the vehicle, I then clamped each mount to the basket plate and drilled holes for where the mounting fasteners would later be installed. Before I could install the expanded metal, I flipped the basket over and laid the 4x8 sheet down and trimmed it to size. To prevent water from getting trapped between the cross tubes and the expanded metal, I raised it by a quarter by temporarily shimming it with some flat bar I had laying around. After 100 or so tack welds, the base was nice and sturdy. Now with the basket out of the way, I moved on fabbing up the wind fairing. After mocking up and test fitting a few made with cardboard, I then made a template and got some aluminum sheet and trimmed out the wind fairing. To mount the wind fairing on, I got some flat bar and bent them close to 120 degrees or until the bottom of the wind fairing sat flush to the roof. To prevent the wind fairing from scratching the roof, I used some trim lock seal. After all the metal splatter had been grinded down, I then gave it one last wipe down with some acetone to clean off any dirt or grime that was left over. After doing some research, I had 3 options for top coat: powder coat, 2-part single stage paint, and truck liner rattle can. Ultimately, I wanted the powder coat option. It was just more durable and it's more uniform. However, it just wasn't feasible as far as cost. Also, if I were to make changes down the road, let's say I wanted to add something to the roof rack, I'd have to grind it down and then reapply it. That just wasn't in the cards. With it all said and done, I ended up applying a self-etching primer from Rust-Oleum. I went through about 4 cans, which gave me 3 coats of coverage. Then I let it cure overnight to be ready for top coat. For the top coat, I used a hot rod paint and applied 3 coats using an H-P gun. This would give it a nice, even, semi-gloss black finish. After an hour of spraying, I was finally done. And here is how the finish came out. After a few days had passed, it was time to finally install the rack system. I began first with the mounts using some silicone in between each layer to weatherproof it. After all 4 mounts were in, I had my wife come help me lift the basket onto the roof and finish installing the remaining fasteners. All that was now left was installing the wind fairing. Here is the final outcome. After I did some road testing, there was no wind noise. I was pretty happy. So I pulled it over, hopped on top, and this rack was pretty solid. It wasn't gonna go anywhere. Now it was time to load up all our things and get ready to go camping. So now you know how it all went together. I would say the toughest part of the build would be getting the mounts where I need them to be. The roof of my car isn't flat and there's a slight curve, so this makes it difficult to measure accurately. So now I'm going to go into what I like about the rack, which is pretty much 95% of it. I'm pretty happy how it came out, but there's always room for improvement. Starting off with the basket size. I like the depth of it and the stealthiness. However, if I were to change one thing, I would add about 2 inches to the width of the basket. So this way it's more proportional with the 4Runner. In the near future, I plan on installing a winch after I make my boat mounts, which will allow me to transport my John boat without the need for a trailer. I also have a CVT awning that I need to install. I'll probably make the bracket soon after this video. And to make it easier to reach the roof rack, I'll probably put in an order for a Gobi ladder to complete the setup. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. Hopefully it serves as an inspiration and maybe kicks off an idea that you may have on building your own roof rack project. With regards to the dimensions, you don't have to use the exact dimensions. Use whatever you feel is necessary to expand to fit your personal needs. Overall, this video is meant to be more of an overview than a step-by-step. I appreciate you watching. If you do want to see more of the behind-the-scenes stuff, check me out on Instagram at Ratha.Sochenda. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stuff like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.